Welcome to Vital Life Stories, where we uncover the raw truth about resilience, failure, and the ultimate path to winning. Meet Victor Chen, a young man of 28 who sat alone in the darkness, crushed by the heavy weight of failure. He stared blankly at the pile of overdue bills and legal notices that declared his financial life was completely over. It was not always like this, because just a few years ago, he was full of hope and bright ambition. But that first venture collapsed quickly, leaving him with nothing but a bruised ego and a harsh lesson in reality. He refused to give up, trying again with a second business, pouring all his energy into sales calls that failed. Then came the third, fourth, and fifth attempts, each one starting with excitement, but ending in the same painful disaster. By the sixth failure, his confidence was shattered, and he began to doubt if he was ever meant to succeed. The seventh failure was the final blow that knocked him down, leaving him bankrupt and completely broken at 28. With no money left to pay rent, Victor had to swallow his pride and take a job as a waiter. He spent his days serving others, watching successful people enjoy their lives, while he felt trapped in a hopeless cycle. Seeing young founders discuss their dreams was painful, reminding him of the time he thought he would conquer the world. Every night, he walked home alone, wondering why he had failed 7 times while others seemed to succeed so easily. He seriously considered accepting his fate as a failure, believing that the world of business was simply not for him. But destiny had other plans when an older gentleman named Joe sat down at one of Victor's tables one evening. Joe watched the young waiter closely, noticing a spark of intelligence hidden behind the eyes of someone who looked defeated. In a moment of distraction, Victor spilled water, apologizing frantically, expecting the customer to be angry or rude to him. Instead of anger, the old man smiled gently and asked Victor why he looked like he was carrying the world. Something about Joe's kindness made Victor open up, admitting that he was a failed entrepreneur with 7 broken businesses. Joe laughed loudly and told Victor that 7 failures was impressive, but he himself had failed 11 times before winning. Victor learned that Joe was a self-made millionaire who had lost everything multiple times before building his massive empire. Before leaving, Joe wrote a number on a napkin and told Victor to call him if he wanted to learn. That small piece of paper became the lifeline Victor needed, a chance to learn from someone who had walked the path. The very next morning, Victor gathered his courage and made the call, ready to ask for guidance and mentorship. Victor arrived at the office, stepping into a world of success that felt miles away from his life as a waiter. Joe sat him down and explained that failing 7 times was not the problem. The problem was how he reacted. He told Victor that every failure he experienced was simply tuition paid to the University of Life and Business. Victor realized he had been viewing his past as a graveyard of dreams instead of a classroom for future success. Joe then shared 3 unbreakable rules that would change Victor's life. Rules that separate the amateurs from the true masters. For the first time in years, the fog in Victor's mind began to clear as he prepared to learn the truth. The first rule was simple, but often ignored by eager entrepreneurs. You must study deeply before you ever start building. Joe pointed out that Victor had rushed into his previous 7 businesses, fueled only by passion and blind optimism. Passion without knowledge is dangerous. It is like driving a fast car at night with the headlights turned off. He challenged Victor to spend the next 3 months doing nothing but researching the market and studying his competitors. Victor spent his nights at the library, dissecting successful companies to understand exactly why they worked and others failed. He learned to identify gaps in the market, realizing that his previous failures were due to solving problems nobody had. Instead of guessing, he went out and spoke to real people, asking them about their pain points and desires. The more he studied, the more he realized that success was not about luck, but about preparation and insight. After 3 months of research, Victor returned to Joe with a plan that was solid, logical, and based on facts. Joe smiled and told him that for the first time, he was actually ready to start building a real business. The second rule was about endurance. You must commit to the process for at least 18 months without quitting. Joe explained that most people quit after 6 months because they do not see immediate results from their hard work. He used the bamboo tree analogy, which grows underground for years before shooting up into the sky overnight. Victor started his new venture, knowing that he was entering a marathon, not a sprint to the finish line. 6 months passed, and the results were slow. Doubt began to creep in as the profits were barely visible. He called Joe, wanting to pivot or change direction, thinking that something was wrong with the plan he made. Joe reminded him of the 18-month rule, insisting that he push through the silence and keep doing the work. Victor gritted his teeth and went back to work, focusing on daily improvements rather than obsessing over immediate rewards. By month 12, small green shoots began to appear. Customers were returning, and positive reviews started to trickle in. He realized that if he had quit at month 6 like before, he would have missed this turning point. At month 15, the momentum shifted dramatically, and the business began to grow faster than he could handle alone. He hired his first staff member, a moment of pride that proved his 18-month commitment was the right choice. The final rule was the key to scaling. Do not try to do everything. Master one thing perfectly. Joe warned him against the temptation to expand into new areas before dominating the niche he had chosen. Victor was tempted by new opportunities and ideas, thinking he could conquer multiple markets at the same time. But Joe reminded him that a light bulb lights a room, while a laser can cut through solid steel. Victor decided to say no to distractions and poured all his resources into making his core service the best. They obsessed over every detail, ensuring that their service was not just good, but absolutely superior to competitors. Word of mouth spread like wildfire because customers loved the exceptional quality that came from his singular focus. By mastering one thing, Victor's company became the undisputed leader in their niche, crushing the generalist competition easily. Years passed, and the former waiter now stood in a high-rise office, looking out over the city he conquered. The company he built from the ashes of his failures was now valued at over $10 million. He met Joe for lunch, not as a desperate student, but as a successful peer who had learned the way. Joe smiled and reminded him that those 7 failures were never a waste. They were the necessary price of entry. Victor looked back at the young man who sat in the dark, realizing that giving up would have been tragic. He understood now that failure is not the end of the story. It is simply a chapter in the book. There are millions of people out there right now feeling just like Victor did, ready to quit their dreams. But the difference between the successful and the forgotten is simply the ability to stand up one more time. Talent and luck matter less than the sheer will to persist when everything around you seems to be falling apart. Remember the rules. Study before you start, commit for 18 months, and master one thing before moving to the next. Success is a journey of learning, and sometimes you need to be the one who helps others find their way. The world is full of opportunities for those willing to pay the price of failure and keep moving forward. Victor walks the streets, no longer a victim of circumstances, but a master of his own destiny. From a bankrupt waiter to a millionaire CEO, the journey was long, but every step was worthwhile. Don't be afraid to start over, because this time, you're not starting from scratch, but from experience. Past failures are the fuel that will ignite a brilliant flame, illuminating the path to future success. If you're struggling today, know that your story isn't over. It's just getting more interesting. Keep learning, keep contributing, and keep honing your skills, because your breakthrough is closer than you think. Like climbing a mountain, the air gets thinner and the path becomes more difficult, but the view ahead is worth it. Life is a race of endurance, and the only way to fail is to stop before the finish line. Sow your seeds today with care and patience, knowing that the harvest will come at its perfect time. Time is the only resource we can't get back, so invest it wisely in learning and building your future. Aim for the stars, and even if you don't reach them, you'll still land among the clouds of greatness and achievement. Be like the ocean, persistent and strong, wearing away the obstacles in your path with unwavering determination and strength. Find a mentor who can be your lighthouse, guiding you through storms and keeping you off the rocks. Build the bridge to your dreams brick by brick. And don't be afraid of the height of the fall. Financial freedom gives you wings to soar above daily pressures and live life your own way. Never underestimate the power of a handshake and the value of building trust with those who support your journey. Mark your milestones and celebrate your victories, no matter how small they may seem to others. Keep moving towards the light, even when the tunnel seems endless and darkness envelops your soul. It is the last drop that fills the cup, just as it is the last effort that brings success. Build systems that work even while you sleep, so your business can thrive without your constant presence. Write your own story with courage and unwavering belief, so that one day others can read it and find hope. Like a flower growing through concrete, you must find a way to bloom even in the harshest environment. Balance is key. Take calculated risks, but never bet more than you can afford to lose in business. Focus your energy like an arrow. Once you've launched it, let it fly straight and accurately to your target. Pressure creates diamonds. Don't run away from challenges, for they are honing you into something brilliant and valuable. Small actions, repeated daily with discipline, will build a mountain of achievement that no one can break. When the wind of opportunity blows, hoist the sails and let it carry you toward your destination. Forge your character in the fire of adversity, and you will become indomitable in the face of future challenges. Deep roots are needed to support a tall tree. Build a solid foundation so you won't fall. Every sunrise is an invitation to try again, to do better, and to pursue the dreams that keep you awake at night. As you climb the ladder of success, extend a helping hand to others, because true success is about sharing. Champions are made in empty gyms and late nights where no one witnesses their training. Think 3 steps ahead in the game of life. Anticipate challenges before they arrive and disrupt your plans. Let your ideas illuminate the world, little by little, until the darkness of doubt is completely dispelled. Flow like a river. Adapt to obstacles along the way, but always strive toward your ultimate goal. Keep the flame of ambition burning and pass it on, igniting the fire in the hearts of those around you. Each small piece of your life will gradually come together, creating a beautiful picture of resilience. Keep knocking on the door of opportunity, and eventually it will open to reveal the future you deserve. This is Vital Life Stories. Thank you for being a part of our community. Step out and make your dreams a reality. Thank you for watching Vital Life Stories. Remember to subscribe to the channel